This is Paul. I wanted to give an update on the parking lot project. Towards the end of December, I made a little video talking about the need to repave the parking lot. And I had talked to the church council and offered to make an appeal out on my YouTube channel. And a lot of you responded. And I wanted to give a little update on where that stands. Right now, in the online giving page, we have listed $28,986 donated. $20,000 of that comes from a local donor. $10,000 of that $20,000 is in fact the matching funds that the local donor gave to basically celebrate what online giving can do. Now that amount isn't inclusive of a number of gifts, probably about $2,000 worth of gifts that were given under the general fund category, and then people sent me a note and said, hey, wait a minute, I meant to put that under building. So if you want to give to this building fund, make sure you categorize it entirely under building. Now, another donor has stepped up from the online world and said, if I will, that he will match dollar for dollar up to another $10,000 of online giving for this project. So if you've been thinking about this, if you've been on the fence and wanting to give to it, donations are large and small. Some donations are over $1,000. Some donations are under $100. And so people have been giving in all sorts of different ways. As you can see, there's about 80 transactions in that, basically $30,000. We this month will get all of the bids together and figure out what our plan is and go to the congregation for final approval and to raise more money from our local members here and from local partners. But if you are interested in this parking lot project, consider giving. The information about it is I'm going to include in this video the previous video that I made. So if you've seen the previous video and already participated, you don't necessarily have to watch the rest of the video. But if this is new to you, you can watch the rest of the video and have an idea about what we're doing. Our budget, our goal for raising funds was $80,000. We're not exactly sure what the parking lot will cost. We've got some quotes already, and so it's in that ballpark. Since then, we've had some storms in Northern California, and we've had some roof damage. So I've called the insurance company, and hopefully the insurance company will cover the damage. I'm hoping we don't need a whole new roof on this building. We put roofs on the two other smaller buildings about 20 years ago when we had a child care center here. But the roof on this building has been here longer than I've been here, and I've been here 25 years. So if there are any, if more money comes in than what we need for the parking lot, the rest will go to roof and other building projects around Living Stones. There's a lot of deferred maintenance around this property, and so the funds will all be well used. So please consider giving. And for those of you who've already brought us to this point already, thank you very much. And we certainly appreciate it. As always, gifts given for American taxpayers are tax deductible. And you can either sort of take a receipt from Tithely in the program, or in a few weeks or so, the deacons will go through and hit a button, and everyone who has given money to Living Stones should receive in the email on file through the electronic giving a donation receipt for the IRS for your gifts. So again, thank you very much.
Hi, this is Paul, and this is not the usual way you see me. This is the way that I see you. And I'm going to make a little video with an end-of-year giving request. Living Stones has some projects that we need to do, and one of them is to fix the parking lot. I'll show it to you in a minute. And so I talked to the council and I said, I think it would be okay if I made an end-of-year appeal film for my channel. Now, this money doesn't go to me, and I'll show you how to give it. It can all be given online, but it is basically for building projects here at Living Stones. And so I thought I'd make a little video where I show you around the grounds a bit, tell you a little bit of history of the church, and give you a sense of, well, what we're about here at Living Stones. This is our main sanctuary space. You can hear the echoey of the room. There's not a lot of soft surfaces in this room, and if you tune in on Sunday morning, this is where you'll see us worshiping. This is also where we do the estuary meetings. So if you come for an estuary meeting, and you might recognize that front area. I often at the end of an estuary meeting do a little group picture, and that's usually where we take it. Now I know that some of you doubt that Rick is real, but he is real indeed, and so during COVID we had to figure out how to stream services, and so we set up this little room, and this is Rick's office, and this is where Rick does the magic on Sunday mornings and for Friday live streams if we're doing it on Bridges of Meaning. The church is located on Florin Road, which is a busy road. When the church was built, this was a little two-lane road. We're near an executive airport, and people learn to fly here, so we often deal with airplane noise. The AM/PM across the street is sort of a center. That's Ronnie in his pickup truck there talking to other folks in the neighborhood. There's a church right across the street. That was built, I think, about the same time as Living Stones. They're an Assemblies of God, or they used to be an Assemblies of God. They were a Russian church for a while, and then they were a Hispanic church, and I think most recently they were bought by another outfit who is trying to fix up the place. Right after we built our fence, they put up their fence. A bunch of the homeless people moved out of here and moved over there. If you visit Living Stones, this is what it looks like from the street. Now, this main building was put up in 1963 when the church was organized. A member of the church bought the land, or at least put down money for the church for the land. Before the development came in, this was the high ground in the neighborhood. This used to all be covered with orchard here in California. And this is sort of the high ground, and there used to be a house along the back. Oh, here comes a helicopter. So this main building was built in 1963. That's the building that I just showed you. My office is actually on the other side of the wall from where that sign is. The main building was built to be sort of a fellowship hall, and they were hoping to build a much larger sanctuary here if the church had grown, but the church didn't grow that much. So in the 1980s, they put this education building there. It's pretty common in Sacramento to have outside doors instead of inside corridors. A lot of big trees on this property. These, I think, were planted by members of the church at some point. You can see we need a little paint. We have a lot of deferred maintenance around here. That's part of the reason for this appeal. This building was built in '63. We've had daycare centers that have rented from us before, and basically we didn't. It's sort of a marginal property. It works okay for Sunday school classes, but it isn't really well suited for child care center. We've had two centers here, but one of them went belly up, and the other one basically the church didn't really have the wherewithal to be a property manager for them, and so they moved across the street. A lot of my interaction with the homeless come here. So this is my office door, and as in many of the stories that I've told, one individual slept right here against my door. This is when he got angry with me one day and whacked it with a baseball bat. I say I got to do a little work on the door there. One person called this one day the foundation of the Lord, which I thought was hilarious. He was complaining to me about the fact that sometimes there'd be 2, 3, 4 homeless folks who'd be sort of lined up here. They liked it here because they could sort of crouch down here, and if you're down here, you're up above the street, and you can sort of watch what's going on in the street and not be seen because you're covered by these bushes. That was before we put the fence in. And so the fence was a big project this summer, and that's what we put in. So to finish that story, the guy said, you know, oh, you've got these people, they're having sex and doing drugs here on the foundation of the Lord. And he played all sanctimonious until one day I opened the door and he was out here doing drugs too. So the name stuck, but his reputation did not. So we put this fence in this summer. Ethan drove down from Reno for 3 Saturdays in a row and helped us do it. When we put the gates in, we had to dig down to get the levels right. We haven't finished putting in the conduit yet. We still have to do that. We've done a lot of the work ourselves, which is pretty impressive given the fact that there are so few able-bodied among us. So we dug all this out, and we put in the track. Here comes another airplane. We put in the track for the gate. Someone keeps cutting my lock, so I keep throwing new cheap locks on. At some point, we're going to put an automatic gate opener. That's the plan. You can see some of the material left over from the fence project. We've been slowly whittling that down. The reason for this request, though, is as you can see, the level here of the gate does not match where the level of the parking lot was. And so we have to repave this so that the levels match up. And we have to do it on that side too. Right now we're not using this gate because the parking lot levels don't match. We're just using this one. But part of what you can see is that the reason we're raising money is that the parking lot itself really needs a lot of repair. And depending on the amount of money that we collect, will probably determine the level of repair the parking lot gets. Again, this one was closer, so we're just using this gate right now for coming and going. The parking lot was in bad shape when I got here 25 years ago. We haven't resurfaced it. We've resealed it a few times. We've done some spot patches, like you can see in some of these places. But the reality of a parking lot is that, and I know many of you aren't too, we replaced the water main. This is actually before I came, so cut through it here. But you can see the lower level here, and then patches that have come over the years. So yeah, we're raising money to fix the parking lot. Now I know this is not a terribly sexy project. I know when people like to give, they like to give for all kinds of really cool things. Oh, here comes another plane. But the truth is, if we don't fix the parking lot, weeds will continue to grow up into it. So here's a pretty good example. Once the ground sort of makes its way up through the cement, then the grass gets a hold of it, and bit by bit, it starts taking out the parking lot. And so we've got some sections of that are beginning. Oh, here comes another plane. So yeah, the purpose of this campaign is to raise money to fix the parking lot. A member of the church has graciously offered to match online donations up to a total of $10,000. So every dollar given by you online for the church parking lot will be matched by them dollar for dollar up to $10,000. So I thought that was a pretty generous thing. So I will show you how to get to the church website and how to give if this is something that you'd be interested in doing.
That was sort of a little fun video project to show you around the grounds. I like it when people visit Living Stones and come and see the place. People are often surprised. It's really hard to know what you think when you're out there because the place just is what it is. And as I've said many times, when one person said recently, they said, you know, you always say that if people say they lived in Sacramento, they'd come to your church, and you expressed doubt. I really would come to your church. So that would be wonderful. I always love when people stop by, whether for estuary meetings or for church services. It's always a great amount of fun. It's fun to show you around the property a little bit and give you a little bit of history of the church. Here's the church website, and it also is in need of some attention. Before COVID, I was working pretty diligently on aspects of it, but it has fallen into disrepair. But I've got it's not really volunteer. I'm trying to program maintenance for the church website in it, but it'll give you a little sense of some of the people here and what they're about. So if you go to the church website and you hit the Give button, You can have Give Online Now, and that will take you to basically when you log in, you give a little PIN, and that will take you to this, which is a giving page. Most people, when they give, if they're church members, they put it in the general fund. There's a whole bunch of categories here. Some of them I should probably take out. But there's a category here, building. So if you put in building, and if you, let's say if you give $30 to the building, recur building, well, that's usually for people who donate monthly. You can either do the card or the bank account. If you hit the little cover fees button, that makes it possible to, when you do an online donation, the banks and the service company takes a little bit out. So if you hit cover fees, that covers that. And then just hit give now, and bing, bang, boom. There's a gift to the church. Let's see if it goes through. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. Yep, there it goes through. So that's how you can make a donation. And again, as was presented, as I said in the video, one member of the church basically said, offered to give. They've already made a sizable donation to the project. If we're hoping to raise something like $80,000. That's our goal, to really. And if we have any money left over from the parking lot, there are plenty of other projects around here that it'll go into. But basically, we're hoping to raise that for parking lot and for other projects. And so that member also offered to match any online gifts. So if you give $30, that donation that I just made for $30, that will earn another $30 for the project from the donor here. So I don't know how, I had no idea, and I have no idea how many of you would be interested in giving to this. There are a number of people from the videos who support the church financially, which I very much appreciate. That's really a tremendous way to support the video work that I do, by supporting the church, because the church encourages me and supports me in doing this work too. So thanks for watching, and if you do make a donation, thank you very much.